The speech that I'm refuting is why schools' education level has declined with the overpowering of athletes over academics, bullying, and building maintenance. And also after programs and teachers being released from school. The first claim spoke about was the effect high school football had on academics. In his speech, he states a football coach can make up to $100,000 a year, while a teacher with 10 years experience roughly makes up to $50,000. With this, schools are focusing more on athletics because with a strong football team, it will increase enrollment and revenue. More teachers are being laid off for like substitute teachers that aren't going to teach as well. But according to Simply Hired, the average salary for high school football coaches as of October 2012 was $39,000. And this is also their base salary. They can typically earn, well, they earn a lot more like due to experience on the job or location, but this was in California. And according to the California Department of Education, the average salary for public teachers is $67,000. Some of the local cities or counties, like Orange County is $54,000, Los Angeles $59,000, and Riverside which is $56,000. So yes, high school, yes, football coaching is a job in demand right now. But a further evaluation of the salaries between teachers and football shows that it is not a main problem as to why education level has declined. On my response to a secondary claim regarding bullying, there is a statistic that 160,000 students skip class each day, which was actually a nationwide statistic, not in the state of California. And according to USA Today, 90% of students actually show up to school each day, which is far larger than the percent that skip each day. So if you're going to school and learning, like it's better than not going to school because you're not going to affect the education level if you're not even there to learn anything, to take a test on. On building maintenance, there are plenty of students who do not actually get to attend school each day and even be in a classroom. And so there are classrooms that are broken down and are not to the best. And lastly, to address the third secondary claim is that programs being cut are a reason education level is declining. It wasn't presented with many facts, but more of an assumption. The example given was that dance, music, theater, and visual arts the program was being cut from schools. But when you take a California standardized test or like an SAT, you don't get tested on these courses, so them being cut from the schools isn't really affecting the education level since they're not being tested on it. So while programs are being cut, it's not a direct reflection as to why the education level is declining.
All right, well, the original claim appears to be a little bit vague as to what the advocate is actually saying. You do list the advocate's secondary points, although, again, they're not phrased as claims, but we can follow what you're talking about because you do a reasonable job of signposting. You talk about the football issue. Your opening material on that, I couldn't tell what inference you're trying to get us to make. When you started talking about the average salaries and the costs, once you presented the information, I knew what the inference ought to be, but you ought to start with the inference, and that is, it's pretty simple. Football coaches are not being paid more than other teachers, so they can't be the source of the problem. It's as simple as that. And then you've got the evidence that you use to support it. You kind of do it a little bit backwards. You're presenting the information, then you back into that argument. Be assertive about what your claim is at the beginning, and then use the evidence to back it up. On the bullying argument, you just tried to diminish the issue by suggesting that there may be that many people who skip each day, but it's a relatively small part of the population. And I don't know what the building maintenance issue is. It basically comes down to you agree with them, you don't deny it. There ought to be an argument about whether or not it affects attendance or affects school grades. Did the advocate present any information that suggests that it's harder for kids to learn in those kinds of situations? If they didn't provide any proof of that, then you ought to challenge that and say that they didn't provide any proof on that. On the issue of program cuts, I think the argument that you ultimately are making is that whatever gets cut is the least essential to basic skills. And that's the way I think you want to phrase your claim. As it is, it's kind of like, well, dance, music, visual arts aren't on the SAT, so who gives a damn about them? They don't affect education. And I'm not exactly sure that that's going to win you many fans. And I don't remember if the advocate presented any arguments about the effectiveness of extracurricular programs on people learning, but there are some arguments about that. In fact, we might have even had one in here. I don't remember. I usually get those. People talking about how music education improves people's ability to learn math, or having football, for instance, also improves people's students' ability to stay in school and focus and those kinds of things. So it seems to me like you might want to develop that argument a little bit more, but I don't remember what their context was. Okay, thank you.